Good evening and welcome to Ville News. I'm Payje Davis alongside Maddie Heckler to give you the latest local, state, and national headlines.
Coming up, we have updates on Viktor Orban losing the election in Hungary and the dismissal of a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. Stay tuned because Ville News starts now.
After 16 years in power, Hungarian President Viktor Orban has been democratically ousted from power. The far-right politician and his political party Fidesz lost 79 seats in the country's recent preliminary elections. The party had a handful of corruption scandals and accusations of democratic backsliding, which led to Fidesz member Peter McHugh leaving the party and becoming the president of the center-right TSA party. TSA ran an anti-corruption and pro-European party, while Orban received support from allies like Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. In the end, TSA gained 3 million votes and 137 seats in the Hungarian parliament. In his victory speech, McHugh commented on the desire to move away from Russia and the Trump administration and towards the EU, saying, quote, "Hungarians still see that Hungary's peace and development are guaranteed by membership of the European Union and NATO. I think this really would be a referendum on our country's place in the world," end quote. McHugh is expected to take office as prime minister by May 5th.
Trump tried to sue the Wall Street Journal from a story they released that highlighted his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, an American financier and convicted sex offender. The story covered a letter that came off sexually suggestive and bore Trump's signature. When that letter came to light, Trump denied ever writing it and ended up calling the story, quote, "false, malicious, and defamatory," end quote. Trump then in turn tried to sue the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion. The lawsuit went to trial, and it was ruled that Trump failed to make the argument that the article was published with the intent to be malicious. A U.S. District Judge, Darren P. Gales, noted that, quote, "whether President Trump was the author of the letter or Epstein's friends are questions of fact that cannot be determined at this stage of the litigation," end quote. The case ended up being dismissed, and the spokesperson, Dahl Jones, for the Wall Street Journal, commented that, quote, "the organization was pleased with the judge's decision. We stand by the reliability and rigor and accuracy of the Wall Street Journal's reporting," end quote.
After our break, we'll have updates on a wildfire in central Pennsylvania and a man found dead in Harrisburg. Ville News will be right back. On Saturday, April 11th, around 3 p.m., a wildfire emerged in Franklin County. It progressed for 75 acres, beginning at Nob Hill in Green Township before stopping forward progression 6 days after it began. The quick spread is attributed to shifting high winds and lack of substantial rain. According to the McHugh Forest District, the wildfire should not pose any further threat, but the situation is still being closely monitored by the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Bureau of Forestry. The McHugh Forest District warns that there could still be isolated patches of flames and smoke visible to the residents of that area, but that the wildfire is contained. There were several firefighters injured as they combated the flames, but all of them are expected to recover. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, and investigators are still unsure if it was human-caused or if it can be attributed to rising temperatures and a dry environment.
A man was found dead late Wednesday night in Harrisburg, prompting a homicide investigation, according to local authorities. Police were dispatched to the 1300 block of Dairy Street around 11:30 p.m. after receiving reports of loud gunshot and possible deceased individual. Upon arrival, officers discovered the victim as 51-year-old Gardy Joseph of Harrisburg. An autopsy determined that he died from a gunshot wound to the abdomen, and his death has officially been ruled a homicide. Police have not announced any arrests, and the investigation remains ongoing as authorities work together to gather more information about the circumstances surrounding the incident. Officials are urging anyone with information to come forward and assist with the case. Individuals can contact the Harrisburg Bureau of Police at 717-558-6900.
After our break, we'll have updates on the passing of a student at Westchester University and Harrisburg Community College laying off staff and faculty. Ville News will be right back. In the early morning hours of Sunday, April 12th, a Westchester University junior was struck by a car in a crosswalk and was propelled 70 feet across the street. The student passed away a few hours later in Payje Hospital. The student, identified as Garrett Nicholas, tragically lost his life just feet away from his fraternity house. The junior left an impact on everyone he met, shown greatly by the plethora of flowers left on the doorstep of Pi Kappa Alpha's house. Nicholas's mother said, quote, "That boy had no hate in his body, not one," end quote. Jimmy Kane, Nicholas's roommate, said, quote, "It was hard to be in a bad mood around him, just looking at the way he conducted himself and his charisma, just his personality all the time. He was someone who gave you hope," end quote. Nicholas was studying business and supply chain management with aspirations of taking over his father's concrete cutting business. His parents are hoping to launch a Be Like Garrett movement to encourage others to spread kindness in his honor.
HACC, the multi-campus community college serving students in 5 South Central Pennsylvania counties, recently approved a $128 million operating budget for the 2026-2027 year that cuts the jobs of 87 current full and part-time employees and eliminates 41 vacant positions. The school further said 2 faculty positions will be cut. HACC's media team did not answer how the cuts would impact its Lancaster campus because it said employees do not necessarily work from one designated campus. The college also did not identify which positions are being cut. Other cost-saving measures include phasing out some academic programs, with current students allowed to complete their studies, but new students no longer permitted to enroll in them. The college wrote, quote, "HACC is saddened about these difficult yet necessary decisions. The college will ensure that any such actions are handled with care, respect, and appropriate support for impacted employees," end quote.
That's all we have this week for Ville News. I'm Payje Davis.
And I'm Maddie Heckler.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in next week for the latest local, state, and national headlines.